All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As a quick reminder, my name is Aaron Pfeffer. I own Spyglass Lending, do conventional mortgages, and have been funding real estate investors for the past, about 12 years with private and hard money loans. Today, with me is my good friend and business partner, Andrew Dinsky. As a quick reminder about who he is, we share an office space here. Actually, I share his office space. So thank you, Andrew, for bringing me in. He's out in the building here in Sherman Oaks at Harma's company. He is the number 10 out of 180,000 Keller Williams agents across the country. He is crushing it. His area is Studio City, Valley Village, Sherman Oaks, and Encino. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you have any questions, if you're watching this, you have any questions, pop them in the comment section. We will get to them. Anything you want to ask either of us regarding lending or regarding real estate. And we're going to get right to it. I'm going to just fire away and ask Andrew a quick question. Obviously, and we all know this, the last couple of years, and especially since COVID hit, prices have gone through the roof. What's going on, man? Break it down for us. Explain to us what happened, why we're looking at such an explosion of equity across the board.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. Obviously, the stock market's gone completely crazy. It's up one day, it's down the next day, went completely off the charts. All of good part of the end of 2020 and all of 2021. 2022 has been a real interesting beginning for the stock market, but real estate I think has been that kind of certainty, asset class for most people, and you have a combination of a lot of people investing. You have a lot of people that don't want to move because of the coronavirus, that are scared to sell. You have low interest rates. So you have kind of the perfect storm that's created a big surge in real estate appreciation. And, I think it's going to remain even though we see a threat of a rising interest rate, which is definitely going to happen according to the Federal Reserve. But I think we're in a good position to remain strong, certainly for 2022.
Love to hear that. That's pretty good. Yeah, a lot of people are talking like equity is going to continue to go up. We haven't hit that affordability threshold, or even if we do, there's all these other things in place to keep it going, keep the bull run rocking, and people's equity are going to go up. And buying houses are still going to be difficult. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what is the percentage of listings that you have compared to the buyers you have, and how many of those buyers are you working with compared to your team? And tell us a little bit about your team.
So I'm primarily a listing agent. So I work mostly with sellers. I do take on some buyers, but the majority of the buyers that come in, requesting to work with the team, I do give to agents on my team to assist with, just because I can't be spread too thin. And I'm sorry, the second part of the question was what?
Your team. Tell us a little bit about your team and
so I have 5 different
buyers
that work on my team, 5 buyers agents. They're all great. And I have 2 assistants. My main assistant is Alex. She does all the operations, transaction coordinating and marketing. And then I have Brandon as well, who is also assistant, kind of more of a client care specialist.
So pretty cool, man. And how many escrows you got right now? What are you working on, if you don't mind sharing? What's your month look like in February?
Right now, looking at my pipeline, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 homes in escrow.
Pretty good. Is that normal for you? Is that the standard, or are you always looking to do more than that?
I mean, you're always trying to do as much as you can without ripping your hair off, and still having time for your family and everything that you want to do. And I need to learn to be a better delegator, so I can certainly increase my business. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of balls in the air, as always. I'm always speaking to a lot of sellers and trying to sign up new clients for listings and, provide value to a lot of homeowners. So, a lot of business coming up, certainly, a lot of new constructions that our team will be listing in the next 3 or 4 months, and quite a few remodels coming up as well, along with some other, standard sellers and single family and condos we have coming up. So
let's talk about those remodels and new constructions. I mean, you say something like that, the thought immediately is developers, right? That's the keyword, the buzzword that just goes off. Are you working with a ton of developers? Has that been a big thing for you? I feel like it is, and I'm obviously lobbing in a pretty softball question. So tell us how you've positioned yourself with the developers, especially here in the San Fernando Valley, or this little pocket of the San Fernando Valley in the past, let's say, decade, and how you built your business that way.
So I actually started off originally working in the loan business like yourself. And when the mortgage market imploded in 2008 and the whole world fell apart, I teamed up with a developer that I met actually at a conference in Las Vegas that was wearing, a shiny coat and nice shoes. And I approached him and I said, hey, you look like you have a bunch of money. I have the ability or the wherewithal and drive to go out there and find lender owned property. There were a lot of foreclosures at the time. And he was lazy and he just wanted to put his money to work. So him and I teamed up, and together we flipped from 2009 to 2012, 40 something properties within that time frame together. And then I ventured off on my own from 2012 and beyond that, fixing and flipping properties myself. But I was listing a lot of the properties that I was fixing and flipping, and that really started to snowball into a realty business. And the way I built my brand, and I think, in retrospect, it worked out well, was being able to speak the developer language and approach developers that are, fixing and flipping homes and offering to represent their property, and also offering to try to find an opportunity for them for their next project. And when you're representing beautiful properties, people, look at the homes that you're selling, and buyers approach you and say, hey, we want to buy homes, similar to the ones that you're listing, the ones that you sell. So it really built my brand, that way. So.
That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. So you've got a lot of off-market possibilities that you work with the developers, and then obviously, you're maybe sourcing the property for them, and then on the back end of that, you're listing it after they've completed the project. Right?
It's been very challenging finding opportunity for developers in this market. It's definitely slowed down a tremendous amount. I think most sellers, the psychology of the marketplace is that sellers have all of the control. So when in order to find a good opportunity, out there, it's become, I think everyone's really jumped into the development space because they see the, financial opportunity and what it's, unfolded and had in the last, decade. And it's only gotten, crazier. It's been very challenging to find off-market property. So I'm not sourcing an enormous amount of off-market opportunities at this time, really maybe one a month, sort of thing. But I have my, go-to developer or two that I go to and, share the deal with them. And if it's a pass for them, I go down the list.
Right. But even then, let's say, over the past decade, you built all these great relationships with them.
Yeah.
Even if you're not sourcing the property for them, you're still,
Sure.
potentially their go-to listing agent, because you've done such a great job for them having done it.
Sure.
And they're sourcing the property themselves. Even if it's not this incredible deal, they're willing to pay more for it because, hey, as we just spoke about, the equity has gone up, up, and up, certainly the past couple of years. And it seems to be heading in that continued direction. And you talked about, you work obviously with standard buyers and sellers as well. So of course you just have standard listings, and your signs are everywhere around this neighborhood, and you seem to be doing very well. What's the key to that success? If any realtors are out there want to listen to this and do that, what do you attribute being able to grow that side of the business?
When I started in this business and I started to take it really seriously, I had, my number one rule was I don't want any seller or client that I ever work with to be unhappy. So I go to great lengths to make sure everyone is as satisfied as possible. And the clients that I've served in the past have really acted as the best salespeople for me, pushing my business. So it's really just that, being someone that they can really trust and just doing an amazing job and being available for them. That has really helped, my business grow. So it's, I'm an open book. Anything I've sold is online. And when I meet new sellers, I let them know all the time. I say, hey, I'm an open book. You can contact any seller I've ever worked with. You can see all of my history. I'll give you their name and number, pick 3 or 4 of them, and you can speak to them and see how, good of a job that we do. So.
Okay, so if you don't mind sharing some numbers, what'd you do in 21, and what are you looking to do in 22 and beyond?
Volume wise, for production. So myself, I did just over 120 million in residential sales in 2021.
That'll put you in the top 10 across the country for Keller Williams. That's massive. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a great year, in that respect. In 2022, I've set my goal of doing 200 million total. So about another 40% or so increase.
That's just you who wants to do that, or you and your entire team?
That is just me. I actually, I have a goal of hiring a certain number of new agents I don't actually have a total team goal volume yet, but I have for myself. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. You want to scale the business up. I mean,
Sure.
what is your plan to do that? I mean, without giving away the farm, I mean, or behind the scenes, I mean, how many agents do you hope to attain? And,
Sure.
what's the Dinsky team going to look like a year from now or 5 years from now?
Sure. I'm really looking for quality agents that I think have a few different characteristics. One is they have to be very trustworthy, and me to really feel, my gut has to tell me that they're someone that I can trust with my brand. That's definitely the most important thing. And then secondly is really having that drive. I mean, there's a lot of real estate agents in this business that think because they get a license, all of a sudden business starts coming to them. But the reality is, even the best in the business, the guys that do a tremendous amount of business each year, really are consistent. And that's the key word. Consistency is really the key to greatness in this business. They're consistent with doing income producing activities, which is mainly prospecting for business. We're in the lead generation business, so you can't ever take your foot off the gas. You have to be prospecting every single day. So as long as agents join the team and they're of that understanding that they're not joining the team just for me to give them a free handout of a bunch of leads, and I do over time as they prove themselves, I think they're going to be successful. And I offer, the support to, help agents along the way. I think agents want to join a team for 3 reasons: structure, support, and leads. I certainly provide the structure and how to be successful, and can give them a blueprint and a roadmap for that. And then support, we have the couple assistants on my team that I mentioned, and I'm looking to hire a couple additional assistants to support the staff, the agents as they come on. So
those are 3 pretty good pillars for a company there.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, where are you at personally? What's the percentage of your business that's referral, and how about all the marketing efforts and money you spent out there? I mean, month by month, what are you getting from new marketing, new clientele, and how much you get, and what are you getting from just referral business from what you've done in the past?
Last year was about 40% of my business was referral business. So that took a big jump for me. I think starting off, was always a little bit of shy asking people within my sphere, friends, family, people that I know for their business. I always felt a little bit uncomfortable about mixing the personal and business thing, and I've learned to get over that a little bit. But my referral business has really grown, by able to understand of how to, ask for business from past clients. But additional to that, about 20% of my business was incoming new leads that were brought on, that were either from referral sites that you can sign up for, or, internet type of marketing. We have a Redfin partner agent relationship. We receive a lot of leads from them.
By the way, to be a Redfin referral partner agent, do you need to have reached kind of like a certain status, or can any realtor do that?
It's a really good question. They definitely have some sort of qualifications. I don't know how high the bar is. I think it's pretty low. I think you just have to have some sort of
a pulse and a license.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah. But I would encourage any agent starting off to look into that and potentially partner with maybe another agent that does have a little bit more experience with them, and maybe they act as they can sign up for the Redfin partnership, and they can work together in tandem on that, because it's it's free leads. The challenge with them is most of them are buyer leads, and buyers are hard to place in this marketplace, especially at the price point that Redfin is for the leads that Redfin's giving out. So Redfin's giving out leads, at least to our team, typically 800,000 and below, and that is an extremely competitive price point here in San Fernando Valley.
I appreciate that. We just got somebody watching us who just said, "Good job, fellas." So appreciate that. Tarek Syed, a good friend of ours, watching all the way from the middle of the country. Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you've been well. We got about 5 minutes left, so switching gears, because I just grilled you for a little while. Any questions you got for me? Anything you want to know from my side of the fence, from the lending world, as a realtor, or just even as a borrower that's been on your mind?
Definitely. So, the mortgage space has changed a lot since obviously the mortgage meltdown of 2008. And you seen any creative lending products come out in the marketplace in the last, 12 months or so? Or do you see anything on the horizon that you feel may fuel or help fuel the real estate market?
Oh, I love that question. That's good. Well, look, we're investors ourselves, and there's always been kind of that feeling that real estate investors do kind of help fuel the market. And if there's a product that has come on the market, I'd say in the last year, or will continue to come, because I see so many lenders now marketing to me as a broker, trying to get them to bring these loans, is what's known as DSCR loans. So debt service coverage ratio loans. So yeah, absolutely. This is a major product. And really what that means is, the borrower, the real estate investor, doesn't have to prove themselves anymore. They don't need tax returns. They don't need their financials or whatever it is. It's really about the debt service coverage ratio. Whatever they have, the single family house all the way up to multifamily building, are the rents covering enough? And the loan to value ratios have gone up on these loans in a big way, and they're all the way up to 75%. And again, the qualifications are a lot easier. So this product is huge. And that's it. They just need the rental money to cover what it is for their debt service for the loan. That's it. And yeah, I mean, I see this becoming a much bigger thing. And of course, people would think it's the opposite of that because of the rental moratorium that was put on this country for so long because of COVID. But really, in the long run, you just haven't seen that many defaults. I mean, most people are continuing to pay their rent or finding ways to do it. And you're also seeing rents just skyrocket, just like the equity has across the country. So the lenders have picked up on that, and they're saying, hey, for the people that are defaulting, that's okay. There's enough people who are still paying that we're willing to take the risk and make these type of loans. So that product alone, I think, will help continue the trend, whatever it is, because the investors are out there just picking up property left and right, happy to take on the new rental market.
So, a follow-up question to that's interesting as far as the debt service coverage ratio loans. Airbnb, a lot of people are doing short-term rentals on their vacation homes, rental property, and they're achieving a much higher return or cap rate. Are these companies that are offering the debt service coverage ratio loans, are they taking into account short-term rental income, or does it have to be based on a market rent for a monthly or yearly lease kind of thing?
Okay. Interestingly enough, yes, there are a few of the lenders who are starting to pick up on Airbnb or VRBO or just Booking.com, whatever the short-term stuff is. And, you obviously have to prove that in a little different way than just kind of like a standard lease or an estoppel for that lease. But there is a caveat to this. This is interesting. It pops into my mind if you're asking that question to say, okay, the lender will use the short-term money and the rental space for Airbnb. Right. But the appraised value of that property, they may otherwise be looking at it as a long-term rental. And those numbers are going to look very different. And anybody who's ever rented something, especially here in Los Angeles or around Los Angeles, might say, hey, if I do this Airbnb on my property, I might get 15 grand for the month on it. But if I rented it out long-term, it's $5,000. Well, the appraiser has to take into the account, the value of $5,000 on the long-term rental.
Right.
And using that on the income approach, and that's going to keep a value down. You might otherwise say, if I'm renting for 15 grand a month and I put this out over 12 months and I take a gross rent multiplier, like my property's worth 3 times the amount. Well, no, not necessarily the case. You're still looking at the comps that are around the area. You're still looking at the long-term rental comps. So, the borrower has to take that into account. The lender is certainly taking that into account. Sure. There are some lenders who are doing it. Yes. I mean, that's going to become even more the rage. I mean, everything's on the table now. I've got lenders that are using, crypto funds as the proof of funds to show what people have in their reserves, as opposed to just like a 401k or money in the bank. So, there are lenders out there looking at everything now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I can see those challenges of someone thinking their property is worth significantly more because of the income they're generating on VRBO or Airbnb, but not being reflected in an appraisal. So, But that definitely gives the marketplace it's something to be excited about. Debt service coverage ratio, especially in maybe the commercial space, multifamily.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
It's good to see some more lending there. So,
all right, well, we just hit the 20-minute mark, which is pretty good, and appreciate the time today. Look, it's you and I, so you and I could sit here and go back and forth forever and cover a million things, but you've got things to do. I think if I know you've got to run out to a property already and get out the office and do something, and I'll get back, hit the phone, see if we can get some business generated today. But appreciate you coming on. doing this today, and we'll post this all over our social media. So anybody who didn't join us today can watch it at a later time. Thank you very much.
I'll see you in about 30 seconds when I walk out.
I look forward to it. We'll just walk out the door and bump fist here. All right. I'll talk to you. Thanks.